good to have you on board. It's another time with Flyo, TN. In today's tutorial, we're going to be discussing about the philosophy of law. I'm going to be considering some terminologies in law, especially, alright, law related to Nigerian legal system. It has been said, let's jump straight into it. So we have POL 2 POL 211. Alright, and to start with, we're going to be talking about the written and unwritten law. Okay, in our last class, uh, we discussed about the civil law, all right, the common law. Okay, and we made mention of the fact that the civil law has its origin in the Roman, all right, having evolved from the commentaries of European scholars on the Justina Code. Now, the civil law employs inquisitorial procedure, all right, inquisitorial procedure in the sense that it has to do with findings, all right, doing enough inquisitions and gathering enough uh, informations and before it's um, before it's been acknowledged or justice is being passed. Now, in this context, it means that law may be defined, all right, which defines the rights and duties of persons, all right. The civil law has to do with the law that defines. Good evening, ma. It's good to have you on board. The law that defines, all right, the rights and duties of the person to another, right. Speaking of the civil law, all right, the law that describes the responsibility of a person to another, all right, defines the rights, okay, and duties of a person to another, all right, of a person to another, and provide a system whereby an individual who is injured by wrongful acts of another can be compensated, all right, provides a system, okay. That was the thing from the network. I think we are back now. Now, I said this civil law provides a system, all right, provide a system, and this system, what does this system does? This system, all right, provide a system whereby an individual provide a system for citizens who are wrongly, all right, citizens who are wrongly injured, all right, or injured by the wrongful act. Citizens who are injured by the wrongful, let me write this out here, by the wrongful act is being compensated, all right, is being compensated. All this happens to be under the jurisdiction of the civil law, okay. So likewise, we have the common law, which describe the law that was developed by the English courts, all right, common law, all right, developed by the English courts, all right, developed by the English court, all right, from the common custom and practices, all right, from the common custom, from the common custom and practice in England. Okay, now we have that as that. So let's talk about, now let's quickly take note of this. When we hear of the word taught, what does it mean? Network issue at my end. Oh, so sorry about that. I think the network issue is a general problem. Yeah, you see, that is why sometimes I record the class ahead of time so that we can escape things like this. Okay, I just hope that the network stabilizes as soon as possible. Now when we say torts, we are talking about a wrongful act or an infringement of a right, all right, leading to civil legal liability, all right, a wrongful infringe, all right, infringed, all right, a wrongful infringed, okay, infringement of right, a wrongful infringement of right other a contract, leads to what we call civil legal liability. Okay, now let's continue. Let's talk about the written and unwritten law. Okay, the written and unwritten law. Okay, so there's nothing much to this, as we, all right, know that this is not a new word. Okay, now let's just take this. Law may either be written or unwritten. The word written here has a technical meaning. All right, the word written here has a technical meaning, and it means a rule of law that has been formally enacted. A rule of law, a rule of law formally enacted. A rule of law that has been formally enacted into a legislation or a statute by the legislature. Speaking of the written law, such laws before their enaction are usually subjected to what? Rigorous debates. Before written law are being enacted, all right, they go through what we call rigorous debate and some serious scrutiny through several stages before they eventually become enacted. Now, the unwritten law, on the other hand, the unwritten law the unwritten law on the other hand, and unwritten law on the other hand could be explained in two different forms, all right, in two different perspectives. Okay, firstly, it may mean a principle of rule or behavior that is not written down. Okay, it may mean a principle of rule or behavior. Principles of rules or behavior not written down. That's the first perspective to it. Okay, not written down at all, as in the case of the customary law and convention. All right, a principles of rules and behavior not written down. The first perspective to unwritten law, it could be seen as principles of rules and regulations not written down in the case of customary, all right, law and conventions. Okay. Secondly, it could also mean any unenacted law. Any unenacted law. It could also mean any unenacted law, even if the principles are reduced into writings, as in the case law. All right. So now we can see unwritten law in two different perspectives. Okay. The very first perspective is the principle of rules or behavior not written down, or any unenacted law. Okay. Now we have that as that. So permit me to raise the board. Let's take more points as we continue on what we call the municipal and the international law. Right. So the municipal law, as I mentioned earlier, they are such law emanating from a particular country. All right. Municipal law are law that emanate from a particular country and having the force of law within, all right, its territory. That's a municipal law emanating from a particular country. Okay. And having force, all right, having the force of law, having the force of law within its territory, all right, within its territory. Okay. So we have that as that, having the force of law within its territory. Now, on the other hand, we have the international law. Okay, this is the law. This law is a law that binds, all right, respective states and regulates their mutual coexistence and relationship. Okay. International law includes international customary practices. All right. Now, international law here does not, all right, apply force only within its territory. Does what? It goes beyond a particular territory. It goes from states to states. All right. So we have the international. Okay. International law. It goes the law that binds respective states. The law that binds respective states. Okay. The law that binds respective states. Now, let's look at the term law. Okay. What does the term law itself? What does it mean? Now, the law can also be seen as a legal system. All right. Law can also be seen as a legal system. Okay. Now, and the legal system means laws comprises of courts, personnel, of the law and administration of justice system. All right, we have court. All right, we have admin of justice system. Okay, administration of justice system, and we have personnel of the law. Personnel of the law. All right, the law is also seen as legal system, and legal systems comprises of the courts, the personnel of the law, and the administration of justice system, given in a state, country, or geographical entity. All right, so we have that as that. Speaking of this, we have the duties of the law. All right, the duties of the law. The duties. Okay, now law, whether divine, natural, or human, is a necessity for right life or good life in any realm. All right, let's do that again. Law, whether divine, natural, or human, is a necessity. All right, necessity for right life or good life in any realm. All right, so some of the duties of law is it is a code of conduct. All right, code of conduct is a code of conduct. It is a means of resolving and settling disputes peacefully. Resolving a means of resolving and settling, all right, disputes peacefully. Okay, it is also guarantees right, freedom, and duties. All right, rights, freedom, and duties. Okay, guarantees right, freedom, and duties. We have that is that. Also, we have it ensures order and peace in the society. Ensures order and peace in the society. Okay, and some of the features of law are, so we have some features. Okay, some of the features are it is a body of rules. All right, law is a body of rules. All right, dynamic in nature. Dynamic in nature. Okay, it has an element of force, coercion. All right, an element of coercion, that's force. Okay, it has law is man-made. All right, we have four man-made. It also has what we call territorial limitations. All right, territorial limitations. So some of the features of Nigerian legal system. Now let's take it down to Nigerian legal system. All right, this is a general feature about law, but the Nigerian legal system, let's take out some of its features. All right, permit me to erase the board so we can have more point to talk about. Now, the features of Nigerian legal system. Features of Nigerian legal system. Okay, we have durability. Okay, no, that's dual. All right, duality. All right, dual from the word double. All right, duality. All right, from the word dual. Now, as a result of the colonial influence and the subsequent imposition of English law, Nigerian legal system has acquired a dual structure. All right, a dual structure comprising the customary and the English law. And the English, okay, though we are colonized by the colonial masters, all right, by Britain, all right, so our law is highly influenced by their law. All right, also Islamic law, which has a wider application in the northern states of the country. Okay, there's also an Islamic law influence on the law under some aspect of the Nigerian law. Okay, Islamic law is more effective in the northern part of Nigeria. All right, so we cannot write off the effect or influence of the Nigerian law itself. Okay, so we also have the external influence. All right, external influence. Okay, so Nigerian law has borrowed heavily from diverse external sources, beginning with the influence of the Islamic law, all right, as a byproduct of the 19th century jihadist war. All right, the English law also remains a major source of Nigerian law. All right, English law also remains the major source of the Nigerian law. Every attempt to reshape and reform the English law, at least until recently, either ended up following the English pattern or deliberately made room for English rules of practice and procedure. All right, so we have that as that. We also have the geocultural diversity. All right, geocultural diversity. Speaking of geocultural diversity, all right, it is no news that Nigeria, all right, has what we call is a heterogeneous country, all right, ethnic groupings and cultural units in their diversities. All right, it is believed that there are more than 250 ethnic groups. Ethnic groups. All right, there are more than 250 ethnic groups spanning across a vast geographical area. So we have that as that. Okay, now, so we also have the order of judicial hierarchy. All right, it is of no order of judicial hierarchy. Nigeria has a well-structured hierarchy in its judicial setup. All right, it has a well-structured hierarchy in its judicial setup. Now, the Supreme Court has the highest courts. Okay, the Supreme Court has what? Highest courts. Now, we have legal practitioners are admitted to the bar as what? As solicitors and advocates. All right. Okay, we have legal practitioners are admitted. Legal practitioners, okay, legal practitioners are admitted. Okay, they are admitted. legal practitioners are admitted to the bar as solicitors and advocates. Solicitors and advocates. Okay, they are admitted as solicitors and advocates of the what? The Supreme Court of Nigeria, of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Supreme Court of Nigeria. Okay, so we have that as that, and basically they are controlled by the Bar Council. All right, these solicitors are controlled by the Bar Council. Okay, wow, that's serious. I think I should. Okay, so sorry about that. I think it's about to rain, so that's why we experienced the interruption in power supply. All right. So now we have the sources. Okay, we have the sources of Nigerian law. All right. So largely, as we mentioned earlier, largely the Nigerian law is shaped by, all right, the events or the interventions or the inceptions of the colonial master, all right, Britain to be precise. Now, prior to the amalgamation of Lord Lugard in 1914, there existed three distinct administrations in the world geopolitical entity that is known as Nigeria today. All right, before amalgamation, all right, in 1914, okay, by Lord, all right, in 1914, that was spearheaded by Lord Lugard. There existed three distinct administrations. Three distinct, all right, there existed three distinct administration, all right, in the geopolitical zone, all right, geopolitical entity, geopolitical zone, now known as Nigeria. All right. Okay, so we have that as that. Now, let's look at the major sources. All right, what are the sources of Nigerian law? We have what we call local legislation. All right, so under local legislation, we have what we call ordinance. All right, ordinance. Okay, when we say ordinance or ordinances, all right, what are we talking about? Now, these were legislation passed by various legislative authorities. Ordinances were legislations passed by various legislative authorities in the country during the colonial era prior to October 1st, 1954. All right. Legislations passed by various legislative authority. All right, passed by various legislative authority. All right. Also, we have laws. All right. Laws are enactment made by legislations or by the states. Okay, we also have acts. All right, acts are also legislation made or deemed to be made by federal legislature of civilian government. They are called acts of parliament. Also, we have decrees, and we have decrees are majorly made by the military government, and we have edicts. All right, these are laws made by various state governments in a military dispensation. Okay, so we have that as that. So in our next class, we're taking our bearing from all right, we're taking our bearing from different, all right, we're taking our bearing from what we call the English law. All right, we're taking our bearing from what we call the English law. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe we have been able to gain 18 or 2 in today's class. So sorry that it's a little bit dark here. It's raining and I will not be able to use generator sets, and it was in between the class that the rain started and energy was interrupted. But I believe we can still see the board clearly to some extent and we can get something out of it. Please, let's do also submit our updated notes to the private class, and let's keep up the good job. Thank you very much, everyone. I look forward to seeing us all in subsequent tutorial. Bye-bye.